Hello, and welcome to our video about finding z-scores from percents and percentiles. So, this is what I call the backwards z-score. What I mean by that is we're actually going to look in the middle of the chart and then extend outwards to find our z-score. Easier to show than explain, so let's take a look. Let's say we want to find the z-score for the 4th percentile. So the first step is to do 4 divide 100. Which, if you put in the calculator, you should get 0.04. Okay. The second step is I like to add 2 zeros at the end. So I'm writing it as 0.0400. This is okay because in math, after decimal, you can write as many zeros at the end as you want. You can write 1 0, 2 0, 3 zeros, 300 zeros, it doesn't matter. But I wrote enough zeros because I want this to be a 4-digit number. The reason? Everything in the middle is a 4-digit number. Okay, now the next step is to look in the middle of the z-chart for that number or as close as possible. I have bad news. You're not going to find 0.0400 in the middle of the chart. In fact, most of the time you will not. But if you can't find it, just look for the closest. And the closest is 0.0401. And let me show you where it is. It is right over here. That's where 0.0401 is. That's about as close to 0.400. And if you extend across and up, you're going to find that the z-score is equal to negative 1.75. And that's how you look things up off a z-chart. All right, let's do this. All right, 16%. Doing it in red. Okay. 16th percentile. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 16 divide 100, which is equal to 0.1600. Then I'm going to try to look for 1600 on the chart. And I'm telling you right now that you're not going to find it. However, the closest is 0.1611, 1611. So let's look for that. Oh, it's right here. Let me see if I can do it a little better. And that corresponds to a z-score of negative 0.99. So, z equals negative 0.99. All right, good. All right, next the 31 percentile. So 31 divide 100 is equal to 0.3100. You're not going to find 3100 on the chart, but the closest that you will find is 0.3085. So 0.3085 is right here. Oh, whoa. Right down here. And for that, we're going to see what our score is. So we're going to have negative 0.50. All right, next is first quartile. By the way, quartile just means 25%. So what we'll do is we will do 25 divide 100, which is equal to 0.2500. We're going to try to find it. You're not going to find it, but the closest to 2500 is 2514. Let's look that up. 2514. Oh, there it is. I found it. It's right here. And that corresponds to negative 0.67. And that's how you do it. All right, let's do some examples on the positive side, shall we? It's going to work exactly the same. So let's get this set up. For 70%, we're going to do 70 divide 100, which is equal to 0.7000. You're not going to find 7,000, but the closest that you will find is 0.6985. Let's see if we can find that. So let's see, 0.6985 is right over here. And that corresponds to a z-score of 0.52. All right, good. Next up is the 90th percentile. Let's take a look. So we're going to do 90 divide 100, which is 0.9000. You're not going to find 9,000, but the closest that you will find is 0.8997. So let's see if we can find that. 8997. Oh, here it is, right here. And that corresponds to a z-score of 1.28. All right, good. Next is the 98th percentile. So, for starters, we'll do 98 divide 100, which is equal to 0.9800. Again, you're not going to find it, but the closest that you will find is 0.9798. Let's see if we can identify that. And it is, it's right over here. And that corresponds to a z-score of 2.05. Z equals 2.05, just like that. All right, next is the third quartile. The third quartile means 7,500. So for that, we're going to do, let's see if I can do it. I'll do it right here. 75 divide 100, which is equal to 0.7500. Again, you're not going to find 7,500, but the closest that you will find is 0.7486. Let's see if we can find that. 7486, let's see. Oh, there it is. I found it. It's right here. And that corresponds to a z-score of 0.67. All right, excellent. So that takes care of finding z-scores from percentiles. But what if you don't have a percentile? What if you have just a regular percent? Well, it depends on keywords that you see. There's going to be 3 keywords: bottom, top, and middle. Let's start with bottom. Find the z-score for the bottom 30%. All right, it starts off the same way. First, we will do 30 divide 100, which is equal to 0.3. All right, good. Then we will add as many zeros. We will add enough zeros to have 4 digits, so I made it 0.3000. Now the next step is to look for 3,000 or as close as you can. When I'm checked this, so let's see. When I look at this, I'm not going to find 3,000. The closest is 0.3015. Hold on. So let's see if we can get that. Let's see, where is it? Okay, right here. And that corresponds to a z-score of negative 0.52. Negative 0.52. And that's all you do. All right, next, find the z-score for the top 20%. This time the keyword is top. Well, the first couple steps stay the same. So first, we're going to do 20 divide 100. And 20 divide 100 is equal to 0.2. Then we're going to add enough zeros to make it a 4-digit number, so 0.2000. But here's what's different. If you see top is like the word more. That means we're going to have to subtract 1. So 1 minus 0.2000 is 0.8000. And now we're going to look up 0.8000 or as close as we can. 8,000 is not on there. So the closest to 8,000 is, let's see, is 0.7995, which is right over here. Yes. And that corresponds to a z-score of 0.84. Z equals 0.84. And that's all you do there. Example 4. Find the z-scores for middle 80%. Again, it's going to start off the same way. The first step is to do 80 divide 100. And if we put that in our calculator, 80 divided 100 is equal to 0.8. Next, we're going to add as many zeros to make it 4 digits. So 0.8000. Then we're going to subtract from 1, and that's where we get 0.2000 from. But then, because it's middle, we also have to divide by 2. So 2000 divided 2 is 0.1000. So the next step is to look for a 0.1000 or as close as possible. And the closest to that is going to be 0.1003. All right. So let's see if we can find it. 0.1003. It is right here. I found it. So our z-score is going to be z equals negative 1.28. Now, here's something that's important. If you ever do a z-score that involves middle or between, you have to have 2 z-scores. One negative and one positive. So, what that means is our z-scores are both negative 1.28 and positive 1.28. That's how you do it. Okay, so here we have 6 questions with percents, 2 bottoms, 2 tops, and 2 middles. And we want to see what we can find. All right, so first for the 11%. 11% is the same as saying 0.1100. See if I can get that in. All right, which is not on the chart. But the closest to 1100 is 0.1093. So what that means is our z-score is equal to, hold on, let's see if I can find it. Negative 1.23. Okay. Just blanked out for a moment. Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. Z equals negative 1.23. Equals negative 1.23. There we go. All right. A little trouble there. All right. Top 8%. Well, first of all, 8% is same as saying 0.0800. Okay. 0.0800. Okay. And what I'd like to do is subtract that from 1, because top means subtract from 1. And for that, we're going to get 0.9200. All right, you're not going to find 0.9200 on the chart, but the closest you are going to find is 0.9207. And that corresponds to a z-score of 1.41. All right, middle 70%. Well, first of all, 70% is the same as saying 0.7000. Now, middle means subtract from 1, then divide by 2. So 1 minus 0.7000 is equal to 0.3000. But then 0.3000 divide 2 is equal to 0.1500. All right. You're not going to find 0.1500, but the closest you will find is 1492. So what that means is we're going to have a z-score equal to negative 1.04 and positive 1.04, like so. Okay, number 4, bottom 19%. Well, first of all, 19% is the same as saying 0.1900. Next, we want to look it up. You're not going to find 1900, but the closest to 1900 is 0.1894. And the z-score for that is negative 0.88. All right, top 26%. 26% is the same as saying 0.2600. But because it says top, that means we have to subtract 1. So 1 minus 0.2600 is equal to 0.7400. Now, you're not going to find 7400 on the chart, but the closest that you will find is 0.7389, and that corresponds to a z-score of 0.64. All right, 90% between. Between and middle are the exact same thing. So 90% is the same as 0.9000. Between and middle means subtract 1, then divide 2. So 1 minus 0.9000 is 0.1000. But 0.1000 divide 2 is 0.0500. So the next step is to look up 0.0500 or as close as possible. And for this, the closest that you're going to find is 0.0505. And for that, our z-scores are negative 1.64 and positive 1.64. Just like that. So, we did a lot of examples on how to find z-scores from percents and percentiles. Although this won't be asked on a test, this will be used for the next part of 5.3, the 5.3 word problems. So you do need to know how to do this to answer the word problems related to this. And tune into the next video and you'll see what I mean by that. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, have a great day.